Thank you. Doink. And again, with a wish for all beings to be free, free from the constriction and contraction caused by held belief systems and thought patterns, free from the automatic reactions caused by learned and held emotional patterns, and free from the isolation and suffering caused by distorted perceptions. I will always rest in refuge as alive, vibrant, radiant, spacious awareness until awareness is ongoing, like the flow of a river. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, today in the presence of all awakened ones, of any lineage or none, and or any time or beyond time, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all beings. As long as space remains, as long as beings remain, may I manifest in such a way to ease and dispel the miseries in the universe. Oh, that refuge that I say is an alive and changing entity. And by group consensus at the end there, it says, may we manifest in such a way. And I haven't quite made the shift, evidently. And that we can be considered to include all beings, or that we can be considered to simply be the collection of beings that inhabit this body, of which there are millions, I think, viruses and bacterias. And, I think it's if you're scientifically, excuse me, oriented at all, I think there's something about our mitochondria which give us all of our energy in a scientific way. Research. I don't think it's us either, but you can go and have a look at that if you want. I think that's fascinating. So we're made up of many parts. If it gives you comfort to think that the I that thinks it's an independent individual I manifests again, awesome. I have no bone to pick with anybody. If you kind of like the idea that all of the whew, kind of hard to find words for that. All of the interaction sounds like such an impersonal word. All of the experiences that we've had that have moved us, particularly in this direction, which might be labeled open-heartedness, but labels are kind of silly. All those beings that have become a part of us, in effect. That could be the we of the manifestation that moves forward. I kind of like that. What doesn't die is the very spark of consciousness or whatever you want to call that, another label, that is for this present time, sparking within this body. Hmm. So some of you are aware that it's been uh, well, I don't have very good descriptive words. Not an easy week or so for me, but I'm very grateful for it because somehow out of that tightness for me, which often comes up for me in retreats, I thought I was beyond that, but evidently not so much. When I'm left to just my own mind dancing around in there, it can be a little dangerous. Also, it's pretty important that I do that. And tightness does come in the emotional pain, physical pain that it brings with it. And then somehow, something that I have no idea how any of this works. When I'm able to, and eventually one does, or I do, okay, I give up. If this is the way it is, this is the way it is. And it's genuine. It's not like, ooh, if I say this, maybe this will stop. I just stop trying to fight against it or figure it out or, those traps we fall into of trying to make something feel better or trying to make something be different or uh, when that part just goes, I don't know, I don't do it. Just lets go. Always another door opens to an experience I could not have had before. I don't know if that's anybody else's experience. I certainly wish that everybody didn't have to go through how Westerners are famous for this. We get a concept or a glimpse of something here, and then we want to jump over to have the fruit of that. But we don't want to have to go through what you have to go through for the fruit to ripen. Uh, I understand it now. Okay, good. I'm going to there. It doesn't work that way, at least for me. So if you have found a way to, some of us learn by having that mirror of reflect back at us all of the nightmares that live within. They're not really nightmares, they just feel that way. So I'm grateful for the people. It's amazing to me, truly grateful. There's certain people in my life that it's not got anything to do with them. It's not intentional. It's not a fault. It's not anything to do with them. They hit something in me that just hurts. And I'm very grateful for them. I don't have to choose to bring them home with me and make them tea, but I could. Something about riding that edge. But underneath all that, and you can check for yourself, I've noticed so many of us, may not be you, are able to offer love to the best of our ability because it feels good, for one thing, and it just happens naturally. A lot of you all are very caring beings, but many of us don't have a sense, not a sense, have a deep lack of experience of being, I hate the expression, but I don't have a better one, lovable. It's kind of like a little kid in some ways reaction, and that's usually where it comes from. And I think today there's no way to talk oneself into, we can try. Of course you're lovable. What do you think? Are you so arrogant you think you're the one that's not lovable in this whole world? Well, that's very healing, isn't it? Um, we're so funny. Yeah. Today, let's see what happens. But this is the thing that arises. Chenrezig is not some being from long, long ago, far, far away, that we just look at the picture and hope for the best. Okay, these are Yidams. This is Tibetan. Okay, I'll do it like that. But today, and each of you in your own way, and I'll just start saying some stuff and then maybe we'll be quiet together. We'll see. Chenrezig is only a symbol of the I once talked with Lama Lena about this. It's easier to point at the spacious openness of heart mind. It's actually much easier than trying to point at what gets labeled bodhicitta, interconnectedness, all of that. But let's just start maybe with this. And it may shift right in the middle of it. So here we go. The alive spark, the consciousness, the energy that looks out your eyes. Beyond time, but if we put it on a time scale, started with a little bit of stardust, a little bit of light, if we use that paradigm, that exploded out of a very dense, compact, exploded into our universe, where all the stars gradually formed. The one thing that was clearly present and is clearly present is light. Clearly not a stationary, sharp, pointed light. But if we use that timeline, a light that spread in waves and bits of light clustered together, and stars arose, stars that we can observe scientifically, going back to evidently a very short time before that explosion happened. Kind of messes with the concept of a timeline, doesn't it? We say, oh, we see into the past because of this and that. But if you're seeing it, how past can it be? I love that sort of thing. You may not. Let's start with that light. And of course, then the question can arise, well, where did that compact ball come from? Or that compact thing that exploded and allowed all that light to come out? But we won't do that today. We're just going to rest with the light. That illuminated aliveness. And in the concept of a timeline, whew, in our perception, a hugely long time ago, that seems to have a beginning. And from there, through everything that came together, perhaps light attracted to light, matter, little bits of matter attracted to little bits of matter, which actually we can't find anything in that. It's pretty wondrous to rest into the experience as best we can of an entire universe that appears to us. If you want that feeling of awe, and you can find a place where there's not light pollution and the clouds are not blocking anything, and the moon is not so bright, and just rest in the vastness of the display of light in the sky at night. Unbelievable. So you can't say that it's nothing, because there it is in your experience. But let's take it further. You also can't say it's something, because so far we have not been able to find any particle of anything that's not an aggregate of something else. No individual, independent particle. And yet, here we are. Let's take that light, that original, we'll put it in the timeline, that original bit of spark of life. That's where all forms started in this paradigm. That's where you started. And down through this length of time that's hard for any of us to actually comprehend if it were real. Through the first forms of life that developed, through the development of that into more complex forms, more and more complex forms being pulled together. Not as something separate from you. Just feel for a moment that bit of light that is you, not separate from any light of the universe, that came down through generations and generations and generations of life forms. Oh, again, a vast scale. Came down through all your ancestors, all the forms that came together. And with the magic of that, created another form. Onward and onward for generations. Until that bit of light came together with all that history, all the elements and experiments and experiences of everything in the universe that came down through that line, and the start of your form as that began. And I never saw this quite this way, but that very form that begins is not differentiated. You don't begin with different cells that do different things. You begin as we begin, as undifferentiated aliveness multiplying. And then kind of maybe like the universe, things start to clump, things start to divide into certain different combinations of cells. All of this happening without any effortfulness on our part, until different parts of our body are formed from the very same beginning. Different organs, much like what we might imagine the universe happened from, became from. We are the universe from which we arose. We are that light. We are that aggregate of things that were drawn, bits of no thing that were drawn together to make different parts of our form. We are the universe, and the universe is us. as we rest together today. We could call on a memory, whether it was one instant or one being we felt we experienced it from, one being we felt it from, and we could perhaps feel that as warm light, the alive light of the universe that we got to experience for a bit, even just a moment of, and no description will be accurate, of feeling the bond of that bit of light that expanded into as what we perceive as a universe outside of us. It isn't a love of something for something. It is the embrace of the universe for itself, always present, never separate from a one of us. We just get a little lost and confused trying to grasp something. And for today, instead of grasping or searching, in whatever way occurs for you in this moment, can we together rest as the universe, as the expansion and complexity of form grows and grows and grows. Not one bit of form separate from all form, and not one bit of form separate from the light from which it arose. And as we, in our own way, rest here in the warmth of that light, whether you choose to or experience it, this light, as a warmth in your heart area, or perhaps a glow in your secret chakra, as it's called, deep in your lower belly, or perhaps you experience it as your entire body. Whatever arises, can we rest in that vibrant, warm radiance, light, which any concept of Chenrezig pales in comparison. And we feel for a moment and take a little time as the universe being born in every moment, perhaps expanding in every moment. And can we experience ourselves as the universe and rest there? Letting your experience arise as it will. If you will, let that initial explosion where the light came into form be that. Feel the clumps starting to come together, not separate than you. You are that. Feel your growth as the universe. All the little bits coming together. Becoming more complex. Breaking away again into other forms. You are the universe. How could you be anything else? like a symbol, which is a rainbow of light, shining through a prism and appearing to break into an infinite number of waves of different colors of light. And perhaps experience for a moment what we all, in our isolated misperception, are always seeking. Underneath the different displays is the refuge of unity, utter connectedness, impossible to separate the connectedness, not love of this for that, simply the warmth of utter connectedness. Oh, not with the personalities of displays. We've been confused for a long time. In some ways, what we perceive as isolated individuals, including ourselves, mirror this universe. We might have noticed that when we lie down to go to sleep, the aggregation, the forms, the elements that are so tightly or loosely held as I dissolve. And the easiest time to notice, perhaps, is in the morning. If you wake naturally and slowly, you can there is an experience of the elements coming back together again. In a sense, without your doing it. the aggregates come back together again. We mirror the universe that we are. Rising, dissolving, arising, dissolving. Some say in every second. Never separate, never isolated from, never anything other than the entire universe. One and many. The incredible display of form. Aggregates forming, clumping, changing, dissolving, forming. The very forming of the aggregates together, making form. The very nature of the light that is the spark of life in the universe. You, light, sound, vibration, movement, interconnected dance of movement, not cold, static. Warm and in its entirety embracing. The suchness of love, not the emotion of love. Emotions come and go, come and go. Movement. Like a wave in the ocean. We are the wave. We are the movement. We are the ocean. And we are indeed all this together. May we, in our own way, in our own time, acknowledging that part of this being that thinks it's an individual and is its own manifestation for sure, may be frightened, may feel lonely, may develop ways to run from such a vastness, such an interconnectedness. May we all, in our own way, in our own time, move towards the radiance of that light. May we break the patterns that draw us towards ignorance, not lack of knowledge, but ignorance of what we truly are. And may we move towards those beings who help us recognize that. Until we can recognize it as us, as all of us. May we stop doing replays of past patterns of separation. Or may those cease as we are filled with the light of what is. May we have the courage and the support to step into the light fully. And for this moment of this day, may we not grasp, try to figure it out intellectually. May we have an intention that the light, which is all of us, may that light shine through us as it naturally will, radiating throughout the universe, not by individual intention, but by recognition of what and who we are. Thank you so much for being here today and allowing this to arise. What a remarkable connection of beings. May all beings have opportunities that help open connections. And may all beings allow those to spread naturally as they will into the whole universe. Thank you all. And I will see you next time.